How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to CyberDemon Gaming. My name is Matt, and we are once again playing Magic the Gathering. It's been a while. I've been pretty busy and trying to get things back in order, and, well, I'm finally able to start playing again. And this is after a couple of meta shifts because of a brand new set coming out. So, I have for you a deck that I like to call... Well, it's not just me. It is a term. It's mainly because it only requires one card that's red. But I call it Blackdos. So it's kind of Rakdos because it does require red and black. But it's mainly just one card that is red. This is a control style deck because you know me, I love control. It has one of my favorite colors in it, which has black. And it's got a few really cool... kind of come from behind victory type things. It is a very, very simple deck. Control the board, drop out, Kroxa, drop out Ugin, win. There are some other things that are working parts with it. It has a lot of nice interactions. It kind of is a ramp deck, I guess you could say. Not really, but hey. So let's start off over at the 1 mana slot. Everybody's favorite new card, Bloodchief's Thirst, 1 black. It's a sorcery speed, has a kicker of 1 black, 2 colorless, so it costs 4. Destroy target creature or planeswalker with a converted mana cost of 2 or less. Now, of course, there's not many planeswalkers that have a mana cost of 2, but there are a ton of very important creatures that have that happen. Now, you can kick it. If you do, it's just destroy target creature or planeswalker. So for 4, this can destroy an Ugin, this can destroy a Nissa, this can destroy... Well, Teferi got banned, so he's not there, but it can destroy a Garruk, it can destroy a Liliana, it can destroy a bunch of things. And destroy any creature, as it is. By itself, very strong, because Kroxa is a very powerful Titan in this new meta that has been since its post-Omnath ban and post-everything ban. So it can destroy a lot of those really powerful creatures that cost 2. Then we have, like I said, this kind of control meta. Control deck. We have 4 Agonizing Remorse. You guys know it's one of my favorite cards. It's the, what I call it, the Show Me What You Got. It's part of that Show Me What You Got set. 1 black, 1 colorless. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an on-land card from it or a card from their graveyard. Exile that card. You lose 1 life. There is still a lot of graveyard play in this in the meta that's going around right now. We run 4 of those. 4 Heartless Acts, 1 black, 1 colorless. It's instant. Destroy target creature with no counters on it, or remove up to 3 counters from target creature. There is no more Hydroid Krasis to worry about, so that doesn't really work. But you can still use it to destroy creatures, and you can use it to kind of limit the damage the Crawling Barrens can do to you as well. Then we got 4 Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, costs 1 red, 1 black. This is the Rakdos part of Blackdos. Everybody knows who Kroxa is. 6/6 when it comes into the battlefield. Sacrifice it unless it's escaped. Whenever Kroxa enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card. Then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. And then escape cost is, of course, 2 red, 2 black, and exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. This deck likes putting cards in our graveyard. Okay, just letting you know that. 4 Mazemind Tomes. Mazemind Tomes are pretty nice. Just cost 2 colorless. When it comes down, you can scry 1. Can come down on turn 2 and scry 1 and put a counter on it. Or you can pay 2 colorless and tap it, and you get to put a counter on it and draw a card. When there are 4 counters on Mazemind Tome, you sacrifice it, or you exile it, and you gain 4 life. We run 4 of those. It's a nice way to filter through your library, get some card draw. 2 Murderous Riders on the main board. Everybody knows what these are. 2 black, 1 colorless, instant, destroy target creature or planeswalker, you lose 2 life. And it also happens to be a 2/3 lifelink that when it dies, you put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Now we have a lot of shuffle abilities in here with like Fabled Passage and stuff, so there's a chance you can shuffle it around. We got 2 Extinctions Events. It's 1 black, 3 colorless. Choose odd or even. Exile each creature with converted mana cost of that chosen value. 0 is considered even. That's very important because there's a lot of token generating decks out there. So just remember, even is 0. Then we got 4 Hagra Maulings, which also happens to be a Hagra Brood Pit. It costs 2 black, 2 colorless. And it's destroy target creature. It also costs 1 colorless less if your opponent controls no basic land. I have never been able to cast this card for 3, so just realize you're always going to be casting it for 4. Of course, it's a black, a swamp, taps for black mana if it comes into play as a land. We got 4 Solemn Simulacrums. Cost 4 colorless. He's a 2/2. When he enters the battlefield, you get to search your library for a basic land card. You put it on the battlefield tapped. And then when he dies, you can draw a card. Now, both of these are May abilities, so you can... Like I said, we have a lot of shuffle capability with those Murderous Riders in there. So having him die, like do a chump block so he dies, it's really good. You get to draw that card. You can draw some of the removal that we have because we have a lot. And then in our 5 slot, we have Shadow's Verdict. Shadow's Verdict is one of those new board wipes. It's not the best. It's not something like Supreme Verdict or anything like that. I remember Supreme Verdict, such a great card. It costs 5, 2 black, 3 colorless. Exile all creatures and planeswalkers with converted mana cost of 3 or less from the battlefield, and all creature and planeswalker cards with converted mana 3 or less from all graveyards. Now, I know what you're saying. Matt, there's a problem. Most of your creatures cost 2 mana. And you're right. This is not something you want to use when you have Kroxa in the graveyard, or you have a Murderous Rider out. Unless you have to. But it does work. And if you happen to have the next big boy in there, Ugin, out on the battlefield, it's not going to matter. Costs 8 colorless, Ugin the Spirit Dragon. He's everybody's favorite dragon. His +2 deals 3 damage to any target. His -X is exiles each permanent with a converted mana cost of X or less, that is 1 or more colors. Then -10 is you gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, then put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Most of the time, you're not going to get a chance to do that in -10. Most of the time, Ugin is going to come down, and he is going to be used for that -X ability. It's really powerful, and if he survives long enough to go into turn 2 with any counters left, he beefs up, he deals 3 damage to any target. That includes the player, that includes any creatures they bring out. He's a really, really good planeswalker, and he's definitely decent in this deck. But as you can tell, our 2 main win conditions are, of course, Ugin and Kroxa, but we do have some other things in the land to look at, believe it or not. I know, weird, right? So we have 2 Castle Locthwains, we run 7 Swamps, we run 3 Mountains. We don't need that many, we just need a total of 2 out. So we have 4 Temple of Malices, and then we have Crawling Barrens. We run 3 Crawling Barrens. These are also really, really good. Now, going up against a deck that doesn't have any black in it whatsoever, you can get these Crawling Barrens up high enough to where they can be avoided in doing damage from red. Okay? Because you can tap 4, and that includes itself, to put 2 +1/+1 counters on Crawling Barrens. Then you may have it become a 0/0 elemental creature until end of turn, and it's still a land. So anything that says non-land permanence, it's still a land, they can't get rid of it. But, I mean, something like Heartless Act gets rid of the counters on it. There are ways to get rid of it. Hagra Mauling destroys a creature, it's still considered a creature. So one of the things that you can do is you can put the counters on it and not turn it into the creature at the end of their turn, and just have it beef up and beef up and beef up and beef up. I have swung with a 12/12 Crawling Barrens, and then they conceded. So there is another way for us to win. 4 Fabled Passages, and 1 Labyrinth of Skophos. I hope I'm saying that right. There used to be a card called Maze of Ith back in the day. It was a land card. You tap Maze of Ith and you basically remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. Any attacking abilities, like for Kroxa, if Kroxa was declared as an attacker, that still happens, but they basically get untapped and taken out of combat. It costs 4 to do it. This is another version of that. Mazemind was overpowered as all get out. But this one, you remove target attacker or blocking creature from combat at a cost of 4. I haven't used it often, but it is there as kind of a, while you're waiting to draw cards or whatever, you can use that if you're playing against another control deck. It helps stop them from doing what they need to do. Now, let's take a look at the sideboard. Sideboard is really simple, believe it or not. The sideboard, we have 2 Duress. More of that show me what you got combo. We have 4 Eliminates, and that's to go against more of the aggressive decks that there are out there that deal with a lot of 3-drop creatures and things like that. Can also take out a Crawling Barrens. We have 4 Skyclave Shades. These are extremely powerful, especially with decks like Dimir Rogue out right now that tries to get a bunch of cards in your graveyard. You drop those in there. It's a 3/1. It can't block. It's not what you're worried about. It costs 2 to cast. 1 black, 1 colorless. You can kick it, and if it was kicked, it enters with 2+1/+1 counters, so it becomes a 5/3. Here's the reason why it's such a good card against Dimir Mill. It has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if Skyclave Shade is in your graveyard and it's your turn, you may cast it from your graveyard. That's pretty awesome. They put it in there, and you can cast it. So you run 4 of those. We have 2 additional Murderous Riders, and there are now something else added to the Show Me What You Got package, Covetous Urge. Now, Covetous Urge is a little interesting. It costs basically in this deck 4 black. Okay, so if you get Crawling Barrens out there, you get your Labyrinth out there, you're not going to be able to actually use this. So what it is target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from that player's graveyard or hand and exile it. You may cast that card as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though if it were mana of any color to cast that spell. Now, I know what you're saying. Okay, you take a Kroxa, you take whatever. Well, it's going to die, right? Say you take a Murderous Rider, and I've done this. You take a Murderous Rider. Well, you can cast it as long as it's exiled. So you use it for its Destroy Target Creature ability, right? You use that and kill whatever you need. You lose your 2 life. And then it goes back to your exile, because you can play it as long as it's exiled. And then you can cast it and you have yourself a 2/3 lifelinker. You can do it with Kroxa. I don't know if you can do that with Kroxa, but I've done it with Planeswalkers. It's really nice to add to that Show Me What You Got package, take things from their hand. So, this is the, and I have the very nice Black Lotus card sleeves. This is Blackdos. It's very quick. It can be very quick, but it is a deck for the long haul. I would even consider it more mid-rangey than more full-on control. But we're going to jump into some matches and see how this does. I have played this in one-off matches, one-on-one, not best of 3, and it does pretty good, but it's made for best of 3, so we're going to jump into some of those and see how we do. Alright, we're playing against Andre MTG. And we get to play first, which is always nice. Now, this does not look like it's the greatest hand, but we do have the Agonizing Remorse. We have something to get rid of. And they're playing Lurrus the Dream Den, so we are going up against rogues. So we're going to keep this. We're going to play Temple of Malice and hope to scry something good. Land we don't need, as you see. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at their hand. Oh, this is a... Yeah, we're going to get rid of this. Vantress Gargoyle we can deal with. We don't need them getting rid of more land than we really need. The Vantress Gargoyle I've seen deal with stuff. It's another mill card. They're probably going to drop it. So you see that, it's a 5/4. So we're going to go ahead and Malice again. Hagra Mauling. No. And we're just going to go ahead and get rid of it. Now, we may get lucky and they don't drop a land. May. So, since they have this, Crawling Barrens is actually really good, because... Okay. So, what we're gonna do... is we're gonna go ahead and do this. Which is fine. Go ahead. We'll get rid of that. And that one's going to have Summoning Sickness, so we're going to go ahead and take action. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and say odd. Just get those out of there real quick. And then get rid of that, because we don't need them drawing cards. And then these are kind of pointless. Like this... It's going to be a 4-4, it'll become a 1-1. So, expect it to come out. Go ahead and take action again. There we go. I was expecting that. Only because we hadn't seen any. Well, they're not going to kill it. Well, they're going to use... I'm assuming they're going to use the Bloodchief's Thirst. I'm assuming. We get to draw a card. And we'll just cast it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're gonna kill it or counter it. Choose 5. It really doesn't matter what 5 we choose. There's nothing that we have that can bring it back. This is probably a concede. Oh, because they can block. So... and we just put some swag in. And they take her. Now, because we're playing mill deck, we're going to go ahead and bring in these shades. The Agonizing Remorses are actually not that good. You have to play around a couple of counter spells. I mean, you can play... well, we can play it a little bit... we can play it more control-ish. Let's play it a little bit more control-ish here. So, get rid of 2 of those. Alright. We'll try it like this. Play it a little bit more control-y. See how Andre does. So Andre is going to bring in Hand Disruption. They don't necessarily have much to go against. They're going to bring in... what is it called? It's a 1 black, has Escape. And you can exile a card from the graveyard, and if it's a creature card, you gain 3 life. If it's anything else, you get to draw a card. I can't remember what the name of it is called. It's so that they can get rid of the Kroxas. But we bring in those shades so they have more targets. Because it exiles their graveyard, and their graveyard is important to them, so they can bring things back with Agonizing Awakening and things like that. So we want them to get rid of it. And it's a nice way to bait things out. You know they're gonna bait out a Kroxa or whatever. They're gonna exile a Kroxa, so you bait it out or do whatever you need to do. This is a great hand. Look at all the 2-drops. So we're gonna play Fabled Passage first. I think they mulliganed. They did. Okay. So we're pretty good right now. Alright, so they're gonna drop in, they're gonna mill 2. And I'm gonna get a red because we still need that secondary red. Are you gonna just bring in your creature? I know what you're doing. I've played this enough. Everybody knows what you're doing. So, end of our turn. Oh, they didn't. Okay. I honestly thought that they were going to do that. So, we are going to see what they have. Cling to Dust. That's the card I'm thinking of. Okay, we're not really too worried about this. Because we're going to Heartless Act it. Look at that. Sure, let's make you get rid of a card. Okay, Cling to Dust. But now, the power behind Cling to Dust is gone. Because it costs 4 and cards in their graveyard. Well, they cannot Cling to Dust. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do this. Oh, well, we're going to get rid of that Shadow's Verdict. Yeah, we'll hold on to that. They needed a land to come into play untapped. I've gotten rid of a lot of will take action. We're going to lose Kroxa, but that's alright. We have these nifty... We have these nifty guys. And I will block and draw a card. Yeah, you want to get rid of it. There you go. Yeah, you still got to choose to block. So we're going to go ahead. Can't use Cling to Dust. They need to do something. And apparently they're just going to waste time. Now, don't get me wrong. Rogues is a good deck, but there are ways around it. If you got enough creature destruction, if you have ways to disrupt their hand, it makes it almost impossible for rogues to get a foothold. With this deck, I've gone up against rogues to where they had the Ruined Crabs out for most of the game, and I was able to still win. And unfortunately, Andre is going to take his sweet time in conceding. But what's fun is we got this, and then Tears. Because you do this, you're doing nothing but being a jerk. I understand that you're... Okay, guys, let me tell you, while Andre is doing this, let me tell you, you're not annoying other people. You're just showing what a jackass you are. This is a game that has no intrinsic value. You just didn't like that you lost. You may lose some points in your ranking or whatever, but it doesn't cost you anything. If you know you're beat, just concede. Because that's what you need to do. That's the right thing to do. Like, if you know for a fact there's no way you can win. Whatsoever. Which, he has chances, he has options, he has 15 life. He only has 4 mana, I have 5. He can keep playing the game. It's just, he doesn't like that I've gotten rid of every single one of his cards. So he's going to draw it out. He doesn't have enough to... So now I do this. Like, if this was tabletop, and you were playing against the person across from you, you wouldn't be taking your time. You can actually, in a tournament, you can actually be disqualified for doing something like that. Now, in this, you're just wasting time. It's showing how bad of a sportsman you are, how bad of a player you are. It's fine. Everybody gets tilted. Everybody gets upset that they're losing. Ishtar can tell you a bunch of times that I have gotten upset playing Magic because you get on a losing streak and you just continually lose and lose and lose. It's no fun. But you don't need to be a jerk, I guess is what I'm saying. And that's exactly what's happening. You guys don't like it. I don't like it. It wastes my time. It wastes your time. But this is the type of people we have to deal with when it's online. And it's not that he's disconnected. If he disconnected, none of this stuff would be happening. He's just literally wasting time. My guess, and this is just my opinion, is that he's playing a top-tier deck, and he's expecting the top-tier deck to win all the games. Get him to Mythic, and he's just that good of a Magic player. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Like, okay, getting to Mythic, there's nothing that getting to Mythic does. It just means you got to Mythic. I've gotten Mythic a bunch of times. You get rewards, but there's nothing that it really does unless you're, what, the top 32 or top 100? It's just, yay, got to Mythic. It's fun, it's nice. It's nice to know that you were able to grind that much. I don't have time to get that far. I'm happy if I get to Platinum. You know, if I get a chance to get to Diamond, cool, I get to Diamond. But there's no actual value in doing stuff like that. See, as you can see, I'm only Gold Tier 1. Because I don't have time to grind like I used to. I was getting Mythic and Diamond all the time. Alright, let's see if Figas, or Figus, is a little bit better player than Andre MTG. This is not a good hand. I mean, it's... better. Let's go ahead and get the Ugin out of there. We are playing against Teamer. Alright. We have the ability... depends on which Teamer ramp that we're going up against. There are two different versions. There is one that just focuses on Ugin and stuff like that, and then there is another one that focuses on the dragon, Terror of the Peaks, dropping down a bunch of big stuff. Okay. Neither of them really run counters. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to get rid of one of those right now. There is nothing good about getting leaving two Lotus Cobras out. Especially, let's see, because that would have been 6 mana. So they got 5 dropping. That is a Gargaroth. That's a thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get another red. We have our mana out there, and we're just gonna say odd. Ooh, I almost clicked even. That would have been bad. Nothing. They didn't have anything. We're gonna go. No. Most of the teamer decks do not run. Counter spells. They have them in the sideboard. No, we don't need another Mazemind Tome. 6. Okay, so they have an ultimatum in their hand. Bone Crusher Giant to me. Alright. Go ahead and do that. Get all that stuff out of their graveyard. Now, if they have their ultimatum, well, that's a thing. Do not need more land. So, here comes the ultimatum. I'm saying it because, it did not happen. I don't know why. Come on, Figus. Figus. Well, I guess it's Figus. Because Figus would be F-I-G-G-A-S. That's Figus. Yeah, it doesn't make unless you cast spells. More land. Wow, that's... Wow. Okay. I don't need the Solemn Simulacrum. That's what we like. We like seeing them put that stuff on the bottom. More lands. Okay. We're screwed if this is... Okay, we're good. This is a pretty intense game, not gonna lie. And I do like that they keep going on the bottom.
Power without wisdom is the path.
And we will be getting rid of everything, including Ugin, unfortunately.
All creation can be undone.
But thankfully, they need to drop quite a few things. Okay, so this is a control deck. I think it's a control deck. We're gonna throw in the Covetous Urges. Take out one of those. One of those. And we are going to take out one Ugin. I don't think we need to put in the... I want to throw in one more Murderous... I want to throw in a Murderous Rider, so we're going to take out... I'm going to take out a Kroxa. I know it seems counterproductive. I know. Trust me on this. We got very lucky, because I'm assuming... Oh, this hand. Better. We're going to get rid of that. There's a reason I'm getting black. I know I would normally go for the red, but there's a reason I'm getting black. This looks like it's going to go the same route. You got another Lotus Cobra? Or are you just going to hit me for 2? Because I want to get to the black to do Covetous Urge. Ah, Cultivate. Okay, so you're going to get an additional mana. But it does mean you're going to have 5. So... if the Elder Gargaroth comes down, which I'm assuming it's going to, we're just probably going to Murderous Rider it. Depends on what they want to do. Oh, Lotus Cobra. Okay. Okay. Now, there is a chance that they do have the ultimatum. Which, if that's the case, we are definitely in some trouble. Because they have 7. No ultimatum. Okay. That's odd. I'm kind of at a loss. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, I don't know what they have. Ah, there we go.
Perfection is a journey, not a destination. Return to the essence of the multiverse. Peace
I have my own.
Do not ignore my draconic talents. Death has never stopped me. The axiomatic structure of reality is surprisingly flexible. I will destroy if I must.
Ah, there we go. So, we're gonna take their Ugin.
I leave you to your doom. My flames burn beyond perception. Do not threaten me. Do not ignore my draconic talents. Consider this a warning. Your efforts will not succeed.
Okay.
I will destroy if I must. Do not ignore my draconic talents.
I mean, I'm at 4, so I need to...
I have greater matters to attend to.
I need... Believe it or not, I need one more card in the graveyard.
Consider this a warning.
And this should... This should... be game.
will you find?
That's actually the best thing that could have happened, is the Terror of the Peaks comes down and no creatures. Yeah. That was the best thing that could have happened. We could have been completely boned. And hey, we reached platinum. Can't argue with that, can we? So, this was Blackdos. As you can see, it's a very powerful deck, even against some of the top meta decks out there. I would say this is a tier 1. If you have the ability to pick it up and use it, you can take this from gold all the way to diamond, possibly all the way to mythic, if you have the time to do it. Hopefully you won't run into anybody like Andre MTG or anything like that, because that was a lot of poor sportsmanship on his behalf. So, guys, I'm going to leave the deck list down below in the description. If it's something that you want to give it a shot, go for it. This deck is incredibly fun to play. It gets you out of some intense matchups, as you saw in the last game against Timur. It has so many working parts that it is really hard to deal with if and when it starts going. And as you saw, I can start going on turn 3. So, by all means, if you like what I do here, go ahead and hit like, share this around, and subscribe. And if you do subscribe and you want to know when I upload another episode of MTG or something like that, I also am going to be playing Cyberpunk 2077, if I haven't already started doing that. I also have Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. There is a playlist of Five Nights at Freddy's. If there's stuff that you like, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll give it a shot. But to know all of that, you got to hit that notification bell. And with all that being said, my name is Matt, this has been CyberDemon Gaming, and I hope to see you in the next video.